Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Here to talk all things hockey are your hosts, Brad Crisco, Ryan Hanna, and Evan Lobsinger.
You want to know why we've succeeded in building this podcast and growing it to where it is?
Tell us why, Ryan.
Because we're the worst damn combination of people to be doing this. And I mean that with my whole heart and soul.
So it's like multiplying negatives equals a positive?
Yeah. Like hockey and Red Wing stuff and like passion for the game and, you know, liking the sound of our own voices, that all makes for a good show. But just the coordination of like the technical aspects of getting this podcast together, I just had a double aneurysm. I had one aneurysm about to burst and then a parallel blood vessel right next to it expanded and closed off the first aneurysm. And that's pretty much the intro to every episode.
If we ever do the podcast at my house full time, my seat will be on the couch. I'm putting a couch where my chair should be. You guys will sit in the most uncomfortable chairs, and I'm putting a couch where
You
my
have
seat
a
is.
child's toy clipped to your face right now.
It's the only thing keeping my brain intact.
I just want to point out he just made that statement about the comfy chair while I let Ryan use my leather office chair.
There's nothing comfortable about that chair.
This
No,
chair-
it's literally older than Ryan.
Compared to the chairs we're sitting in, yes.
So something that we've coached ourselves out of, and Brad, you and I are coaching Evan out of, is making noise into the mic that's not necessary. You can stop it. And part of that is recognizing that this chair that I'm sitting in creaks like a house from an Amityville horror movie series. And so I have to sit perfectly still the entire damn time. And if I don't set myself perfectly at the start of the episode, which happens to be the case today, it is an hour and a bit of just like lumbar pain.
So what you're saying, Ryan, is you want to switch spots.
I would switch spots with you, not Evan. The problem is Evan's spot, my laptop screen is visible.
And you can no longer watch porn in the middle of an episode.
I can only watch the same Pavel Datsyuk highlight videos so many times in a row.
This is true.
That's actually all I do during these episodes, which is why I keep bringing him up.
Fun fact about the chairs, I can tell you exactly how old it is because I bought that chair when I moved out. That was the first laptop chair I had for my first desk in my first place that I lived on my own.
Oh,
I don't want to. Okay, Evan, let's guess. I think it's 9 years old. Wait, when you lived in your first place ever?
Like, yeah, when I moved out of home from my parents.
Oh,
Is
9.
this a 16-year-old chair?
I'm 32, Ryan.
When did you move out?
14 years.
When did they kick people out in the county? 12?
I moved out at 20.
Oh, 12. Yeah,
That's like 65-year-old chair. This chair's 12 years old.
That chair is 12 years old.
Ooh, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, we need a Lysol sponsorship.
I passed out drunk on it numerous times.
Well,
It made it through college.
Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. I'm unfortunately Ryan Hanna.
I'm old Brad Crisco.
I'm googly eyes Evan.
That's the best you can come up with?
It's fit.
You want to know something hilarious? I actually did not tell you guys this before the show. So we have a contact us page on our website, and I'm saying that to both the listeners and to Brad and Evan because they actually might not know.
I know it's there, Ryan.
And when people submit like forms on there, it comes through the website management. And we got a form, and I hope the person who sent this is okay with me calling out their name because
What is this on again, sorry?
our website.
Okay. Yeah.
We have one of those now.
wingedwheelpodcast.com.
Yeah, you made me change my Twitter.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Did I change mine?
For all the listeners, when I die, I want you to remember this. I just want you to remember how I got to the point that I did. Anyways, so the form came through, and one came through this morning at 7:53 a.m. from Paul K. I won't call it his whole name in case he's not comfortable with it. He goes, Evan is the Justin Abdulkader of your podcast. That is the whole message. That is the whole message that he filled out.
I'm the captain.
Everybody loves him, but
Yeah, for now.
I'm the captain.
There was actual news in hockey, especially relevant to the Wings, and it's real discussion. Like, we're not even going to milk this for like more than it's worth. It's real discussion, which I'm thrilled about because though we are almost in September, which means we're almost in divisional previews, we still got to bring content up somewhere.
I'm going to preface this by saying, if this happened in November, in the middle of the season, this is a 3-minute topic. But since this is off season, this is the rest of the episode. Buckle up, everybody.
So the Detroit Red Wings it was Tuesday, was it?
I don't know.
It was late, far enough past the last episode and enough before this episode where it was like the perfect time to generate news in the offseason. The Detroit Red Wings traded with the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Red Wings sent a 4th-round pick from the 2020 draft, the upcoming draft next year, for Bert-Ehn-Ernie, right winger, which was very unexpected, but at the same time kind of fit what Yzerman had been talking about. And my initial thought was, I had two initial thoughts. One was, okay, I have to learn a little bit more about Bert-Ehn-Ernie. I know I have a good impression of him, but I don't know about the year he just had. And secondly, Yzerman just went back to his old team to get this guy, which means that's a huge vote of confidence in my mind. So there's a lot to kind of dissect and unpack here, but let's talk about Bert-Ehn-Ernie, the player. What's he going to bring to this team, theoretically?
Ideally, what we thought Justin Abdelkader would.
He had more points than him for a fifth of the cost.
Yeah, but also only one more point in just a few less games. So it's very much Abdelkader production right now. Bert-Ehn-Ernie is a project. If you think he's coming in and he's going to light the world on fire year one and he's going to be this massive, Yzerman knows him, so he must be way better than his point totals let on, you're going to be disappointed. Could he get there? Sure. He's 24.
I think he's still an RFA, is he not?
He was drafted in the same round of the same draft as Tyler Bertuzzi, if I'm not mistaken. So Bert-Ehn-Ernie is what Bert-Ehn-Ernie is. It's not going to be a question of, is he going to improve dramatically as a player? It's going to be, is different deployment in the lineup going to yield better results? Because he was very much buried on the 4th line in Tampa Bay, playing 10 minutes a night. His underlying analytics are strong. He's a big body with some offensive touch. He scored 40 goals in his final season in the QMJHL, if I'm not mistaken. So I can see the thought process here. And like Ryan said, Yzerman knows this kid firsthand from his time in Tampa. So he wouldn't have done this if he didn't think there was something there. But that all leads me to my next point. He sounds like he could be a very usable and useful bottom 6 winger.
4th-round pick isn't much to give up for something like that.
Yeah, it's a 4th-round pick turns into an NHL player 9% of the time, I think is the exact stat. So sure, he will play in the NHL, so it's already a safe bet. But we traded for a player who fills a role that is likely the only spot on the Red Wings roster that is not a weakness, and that is bottom 6 wingers.
All right.
There's like 9 of them right now.
I'm going to offer a lot of counters to this, so I'm really glad that you said all that. For context, we were all in different places this weekend, so we had no time to discuss this amongst ourselves. So good radio. Bert-Ehn-Ernie only got 10 minutes of ice time per game last season.
I mentioned that.
That's like Austin
Yes.
Matthews in Game 7.
So
There's proof that Ryan just zones out when I start talking.
sometimes, candidly, yes, sometimes I do because I'm pulling up stats. Right, but the part of this that you might not have known is Justin Abdelkader averaged over 15 minutes a night.
Oh, I'm painfully aware of that.
Yes. So
It feels a lot more than 15.
Bert-Ehn-Ernie does, like, I'm not going to pretend Bert-Ehn-Ernie's going to come in and be like a 50-point player or anything like that. But you look at what he was in juniors and coming up, he was considered a pretty apt offensive talent, especially shooting. And he brings what he's brought forward in any interviews is that he's looking for an opportunity where there is space for him to be more than just a grinder. So he wants to contribute more in that realm, and he has a historical evidence of being able to do that, at least, on the ice, maybe not in an NHL game, that's to be seen. But by all rights, if this guy's getting more than 10 minutes a night and maybe an enhanced opportunity, his point totals could swell well above 20 points. Was it 20? Yeah, 20 points.
20 points in 63 games, I believe.
And to contribute further to that, if you look at HockeyViz, so that's Mike McCurdy, who we've had on this podcast before, he put out his really cool heat maps, and it shows basically what each player contributes offensively, defensively, and a few other things. So his even strength, the even strength offensive output for his team when he's on the ice is average, which means he's serviceable. He's not taking away from his team, but he's not adding a lot. For a guy that's playing 10 minutes a night on bottom six, most likely fourth line or even the 13th forward minutes, that's fine. I'm really okay with that. That's better than what a lot of Red Wings are bringing to the table. And if you're saying, does that mean a lot of Red Wings negatively contribute to offense when they're on the ice? Yes, absolutely yes. I'm sorry to say.
Most.
He enhances the team defense by 11% relative to the league average when he's on the ice. This guy's a great defender. So he suppresses shots and reduces the opponent's offense by 11% when he's on the ice.
Now, these heat maps are an indication of how much shots overall. So you have to factor team in there. Because even though it's the fourth line on Tampa, that's still one of the strongest fourth lines in the league.
Right. But then you also can flip that argument to the offense. You could say he could be a little bit more offensive. I'm not even sure that argument just worked when I said it out loud. But still, those are both very positive or at the very least neutral stats. He draws an insane amount of penalties.
Yes,
he
I saw
draws
that.
31% more penalties relative to league average, and takes 6% fewer penalties than the average player in the league. Doesn't really he's not knocking down the door. I'm not saying Adam Ernie's definitely a top 6 forward. I would be surprised if he ended up being a second line winger. But you're talking about guys who could be very serviceable and at the very least extremely defensively responsible and young.
If there's any team that should be taking cheap priced swings at project players, it's the Red Wings.
So between what Brad and I just talked about, let's look at worst case Ontario for Adam Erne. He is a guy who contributes minimally offensively, but is very responsible defensively. He's what we wanted Justin Abdelkader to be, or Luke Glendening, or Darren Helm, or what we are expecting of all these guys. Now, there is offensive upside there, or there is at least the headroom for it. Whether he achieves that is to be seen. But the question is, how does this relate to the rest of the roster jam? Brad, you mentioned that this was an area where the Red Wings didn't need. Yzerman mentioned in the past where he wouldn't pass up on getting a winger given the opportunity. And we all heard that, we all acknowledged it, but it just didn't really click because we said, well, there's so many of these guys. But you know what this screams to me? Yzerman thinking, De La Rose, Helm, Glendening, all of these guys, yeah, some might be likable, or yeah, some might be better than what we've had in the past, but they're expendable.
No kidding.
I would not be surprised if Steve Yzerman has something up his sleeve, but I wouldn't bank on it. I think it'd be a small miracle if he could ship out one of the anchor contracts, but still.
I still think there are teams who would have some interest in Darren Helm.
Oh, absolutely.
If the price is right, of course. And, there might need to be some salary retained for those teams that are contending. But basically everybody else is expendable for minimal return.
So Yzerman's made these tough decisions before. I love Steve Yzerman as an example of a GM who will make tough decisions because of that extreme example of leaving Martin St. Louis off of Team Canada, which ended up with St. Louis being traded from Tampa Bay and Yzerman retiring from managing Team Canada at the Olympics and World Competition. But yeah, you're looking at De La Rose, these guys, these bottom 6 guys, and I think what we're losing in the whole is there a roster jam is that Yzerman will just get rid of them. He'll make the tough move. He'll waive. He'll buy out. He'll do whatever.
He has to.
He doesn't have much of a choice right now because, again, looking at the depth chart right now, there's not a spot for De La Rose on this team right now.
No.
There's not a spot for Rasmussen on this team right now. And I'm not saying either of those guys should be on the Red Wings, but there's going to be players who are going to be in Grand Rapids who absolutely should be in Detroit right now because the one thing I hope I'm wrong, but the one thing I don't think Yzerman will have the balls for yet is to send an Abdelkader down, to send a Darren Helm down, whoever it might be, with a bigger contract if they're not performing up. Because I don't love the trade because I don't love giving up a 4th-round pick in a stacked draft. What's looking to be a stacked draft to fill a position where the Red Wings really aren't weak. But that being said, I do like Adam Ernie's upside more than Helm, Abdelkader, De La Rose, and he's the best option of those guys, but it's not like he's likely going to be replacing one of those guys because if the roster does come down to Blashill for opening night, it's not going to be one of those guys that's getting bounced in favor of Adam Erne. It's going to be Zadina, Hirose, or Rasmussen or Svechnikov in all likelihood getting bounced for Ernie. And this is all conjecture. It might not happen, and if it happens, I'm thrilled. But I mean, we've seen how this team has operated from a roster level for the last 5 years, and yeah, Yzerman's new, and that gives me optimism. But I'm still of the mindset, until I see something different, I'm going to assume the norm.
I know at the home opener, as soon as the lineup's announced, there's going to be a WTF moment.
There's absolutely going to be, because even if Yzerman has some control, you have to give your coach some control over it. As much as I disagree with most of Blashill's roster decisions, he's your coach. You have to give him control of the lineup.
He's down in the trenches more than the GM is.
100%. Like, it's insane if the GM would set the opening night roster, which is, he might say, like how Ken Holland had a couple years ago with Ouellette and Nyquist, yada, yada. He's like, no, there's cap reasons, there's contract reasons, we have to send these guys down. But that's rare, and nobody on the Red Wings right now is in a position where that matters. So right. Blashill literally will have free reign to just be like, these are the 14 forwards or 13 forwards, depending if he goes with 7 or 8 defense, that I want on the roster. And again, best predictor of future events is past events, and I am fully certain our bottom 6 this year is going to be completely and utterly incapable of scoring goals, and I don't think Bert-Ehn-Ernie is the answer to that, even though I agree with you, he's an upgrade on just about everybody else who's in line to play third line left wing right now.
My take on what Yzerman thought was, look, this rebuild's not going to be perfect, and at some point I have to listen to Max Bultman and say, if the talent is there and it's available at a good price, you just have to do it. It's not going to be pretty. It's not always going to be exactly the timing that you need, but you have a 24-year-old who has at least some kind of room to grow further, because he's been a little bit suppressed in his opportunity, and is still a very good defender, and I can get him for a 4th round pick in a draft where I already have a bonus 3rd round pick. I'm going to take that, because he's like they signed him for a 1-year deal, by the way, for just north of $1 million, which is obviously great.
Yeah,
that's nothing to be concerned about for term or cap hit. And he's saying the talent's there, and I'm going to get it, and I'll figure out the rest later.
Yeah, just swing away. If it doesn't work out, it wasn't a big hit at the time, and 4th round pick at the end of the day isn't the end of the world. And if he achieves more than what people expected of him, it was a great move.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Red Wings depth chart too, I'm not talking about Detroit and Grand Rapids, but when you look at the prospect system, the position they are thinnest at for prospects is left wing.
Yeah.
Like, I think Master Simone is the only listed notable prospect at that position right now. So it makes sense. And Ernie's not prospect young at 24, but he's younger than everybody else he's competing with those spots.
He's younger than everyone else. And if he makes it out of this, like out of the rebuild, he pans out, he will be a guy that would make sense to keep on the team as an effective player.
There will be a lot of casualties. There's going to be a ton. Don't buy any jersey for anyone who's not stuck to the wall.
And also, don't expect a decision on this logjam to happen anytime soon. This is a move where Yzerman's going to probably sit down with Blashill like a few days before the season and go, okay, what are we thinking? What are we looking at? And then he'll fire off some waivers, some trades, some whatever he has to do.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen until the end of preseason, if I had to guess.
Yeah, Brad, despite the fact that I was not arguing, but like kind of countering Brad, the point does stand. Something does have to give. Camp is the biggest, predictor of that. If Veleno comes out and has a dud of a camp, and Rasmussen looks kind of similar in terms of being a little bit antsy out there like he was last year, then yeah, it makes sense to send both those guys to Grand Rapids. If Zadina comes out and is absolutely on fire, then yeah, they're going to have to find the room for him. One thing where I have more confidence now is that roster, the way the Red Wings operate in terms of who they keep up, you mentioned that like historically they haven't kept up young guys or given guys an opportunity or a little bit of a leeway. I have a little bit more of an innate trust that Yzerman will push that through, but you're right in that it does depend on how much control Blashill has.
And again, I would much rather have Yzerman making this decision, but if it's an NHL hierarchy and you have a coach, you have to believe in that coach and you have to give him that control. That's the reality of how the NHL needs to work. Unless there's a major cap or contract implication, opening night roster should go to the coach.
So I'm not going to sit here and declare that X player has to be here and Y player has to be there. But all things considered, where I think players likely can or will and should go, is Rasmussen and Veleno spend most, if not all the year in the AHL with Grand Rapids. Zadina should spend at least 41 games with the Red Wings, in my mind, if not more.
He needs to start in Detroit.
Yes, I agree. And though I'm not as high on him as others, the reality remains that we still do not have a good look at Evgeny Svechnikov, and he needs to spend legitimately the first 30 games at least with the Red Wings. The guy needs to be up. And if he still is a little bit rusty, start him off in Grand Rapids, but find the room for him very quickly.
But and again, that's the issue we're going to have is right now, if Ernie makes the team and the veteran bias stands, the only space for prospects on the team right now is it looks like you could probably get Zadina and Hirose in there, and that would be it. And that's a maybe. That's, I think, I forget exactly how the chart broke down, but that's sending Christopher N. and I think waiving Jacob Delarose to make that happen.
Those are both very realistic possibilities, but still something has to give.
Yeah.
Lots
on forward and defense.
Yeah, lots between now and the time to make that decision, and I don't doubt that Yzerman will make a decision.
He might not have to, though. Preseason could determine that. Delarose and Helm go down for 2 months because of injury X and injury Y, and all of a sudden the problem starts out. Last year, the Red Wings had 4 rookies play their first NHL game, or 5, on the same day at the home opener because there were so many injuries in preseason.
Yes. So that kind of leads me into my next topic here, which is a lot of the staffing changes that we've talked about recently were made official in classic Steve Yzerman fashion, which was very, very quietly. I'm going to pull up the list of them here. I was driving when this happened, and I got back and I saw that all of this came up, and I was like, I have to go to a party. I don't really have the time to sit and like tweet all this out. And then I saw that Max did everything. I was like, thank God.
I saw it 5 hours after it happened. I've been very out of the loop the last 2 weeks.
So Chris Draper, as we had reported, has been confirmed as the Red Wings Director of Amateur Scouting. Ryan Rezmirski, formerly of Nashville, and Jesse Wallin, formerly of St. Louis, are now new Chief Scouts. The news that...
2 teams that have drafted well.
Yes. News that I didn't break, but a couple of collegiate guys did right before me. Rob Rassi came over, as well as former Saskatoon Blades assistant Bryce Thomas. They were added as amateur scouts.
Kirby Doc trade imminent.
Former Canes video coach LJ Scarpacci, I might be saying that wrong, is now with the Red Wings. He was former University of Michigan Director of Player Development. Go Blue. And then Yuri Fisher went from Director of Player Evaluation to Associate Director of Player Personnel. Sean Horkoff has added Assistant Director of Player Personnel to his Director of Player Development title. Dan Cleary got a promotion from Player Development Assistant to Assistant Director of Player Development.
Holy crap.
And news that we talked about a little while ago, Mike Barwis is now the Director of Sports Science and Human Performance.
Is there an org chart somewhere that we can read?
Yeah. Yeah,
God,
this is literally from the org chart.
That'd be so much better.
So the Justin Spiro or Spiro on Twitter, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, talked about Mike Barwis, and apparently this kind of does lend a lot of credibility to the Red Wings fitness, strength training and development program was essentially unchanged for the last 20 years.
Fitting this pizza in my mouth.
Yeah, pretty much. So a reduction in injuries would be nice.
That would be good. Endurance increase, because not to name players, because I don't ever want to call an NHL player out of shape, because even the worst in shape player in the NHL could do laps around me.
But let's just say a player fell off a cliff for no reason in a year. Say his name was like Trevor Daley.
Something like that. There were definitely performance issues that even the average fan could pick up on.
Yeah.
What this all screams to me, Barwis is one of the more progressive fitness guys. We all know that Chris Draper is very progressive in his views on scouting, and so is Horkoff, so is Cleary, who just got promotions.
Yeah.
It's very, very obvious that Yzerman wanted to, what's the word I'm looking for here, modernize the management structure in the Red Wings.
Yes.
And I am very happy to see it. Obviously, most of the names that we rambled off there, nobody outside of people who actually work in the hockey world know these guys that well and can give in-depth. I know who Jesse Wallin was as a player. Could I tell you anything about him as a scout? No,
I saw his name.
Not.
I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I couldn't tell you anything about it as a scout, but just based on the overall theme out of all these moves, I'm so in favor of this. It's long overdue. The Red Wings are bringing themselves out of, I'm not going to call the dark ages, but that old school mentality, and are starting to now catch up with the rest of the league.
Feudal fitness.
There it
Evan,
is.
man, that's good. I like that.
I'll go back to bed now.
Yeah. No, and it's good. It doesn't matter how much credibility there is to the whole nothing has changed in 20 years. What we're seeing right now is Yzerman changing what he can change. The stuff that's behind the scenes. He's making this his team and organization. The cogs that happen, under the ice, behind closed doors, are just as important as the play on the ice, because that's how you get the play on the ice. And Yzerman didn't build Tampa's program out of nowhere, right? He knows what he's doing, and to see him bring in his people or minds that he has wanted to bring in for some time, even if he was over in Tampa, it's really exciting as a Red Wings fan, because you now have faith and a belief that what's happening is of Yzerman's creation. It's of his mind. And so we're going to start to see a little bit of a dissipation of, Holland holdovers or old school traditions or business methods that maybe hampered the team, or at least sent the team in a direction that we wouldn't want them to. And now it doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. There's going to be stuff that fans are going to disagree with. I know the response on Ernie was split, but it's still good. It's good to have a new GM and have them come and A, have the license, and B, exercise the license to basically put their print on this team, make it his team. So strength and conditioning is honestly the most exciting thing about all of that, but also amateur scouting, yes. Pro scouting is hugely important, and I'm very excited to see that change, because the Red Wings pro scouting has been lacking for the past. When was the last time the Red Wings acquired a good player?
Mike Green?
Yeah. And before Mike Green.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
Robert Lang.
Was
Brian Rafalski, was he before that?
No, I think Rafalski was after that.
Robert Lang was what, 2007? 6?
5, I want to say.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's all really good stuff. And if you're like, this just seems like a little bit of off-season content, and we wouldn't be talking about it during the year. A little bit right, but it is genuinely very impactful, and it's something to keep an eye on. The beauty of Twitter and online, reporting is that there's way more of a focus on this stuff now that we all have access to it. And this is actually surprising that we have as much information as we do, because Yzerman is ironclad. He lets nothing go. So that's it was some Red Wings news that happened. Brad, you're going to hate this. Let's give everyone a quick RFA update. We got a question from someone. They were asking, is this the best RFA class ever?
Yes, because normally they've all been signed by now and nobody cares.
Everyone right now is waiting. Patrick Laine, Mikko Rantanen, Braden Point, they're all waiting for the Marner shoe to drop.
Man, there's going to be a lot of unsigned RFAs.
This is going to be an awkward October.
Yes. October.
October spelled with an AWK.
Yeah, I realized saying it out loud was just the word October. Yeah. Before we get into that topic, actually, we recorded an episode that we haven't uploaded yet. It's another bonus Patreon exclusive episode. It is going to piss people off.
I saw some of when I retweeted that one thing this week and people got mad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy, they're going to love that episode.
That episode pissed me off.
Yeah, it was, we did like one of those.
You're welcome, Brad.
I'm still angry about the Rangers.
No, we're putting the
you can't tell anyone.
No, they don't know what I'm talking about. Just the Rangers pissed me off.
We're switching it to what you recommended. I got home and I was like,
We can't now. It's recorded. You done goofed.
It doesn't make any sense then. Ryan changed it already.
We should switch to the Rangers in Vegas. I'm just saying it's right there.
No.
You can't be pissed about the Rangers.
Listen, these mistakes have already been made, or what you deem to be a mistake. You have to live with it. That's life.
So what we did was
just ask every teenage mom.
We created one of those tiered lists that have been going around Twitter for the past 6 months, and it was I made the tiers. It was elite from the top down: elite, great, good, poor, bad, and oh god, my eyes. And we ranked every NHL jersey in the league last year. So the home and away sets, which counted as one set, and then any third jerseys or special jerseys that came up.
And you only find out what that is if you are a Patreon.
So we'll post that for the patrons sometime in the next week or so. And so, funny story, I went home and I showed it to Mel, and Mel was like, no, I hate that. I hate all the decisions you made. She's like, why is that? She's like, why are the Rangers here instead of here? And she agreed with you, Brad. Woe is me.
Oh,
She's
God.
good. She's good people.
Ryan had to go and have a cold shower and cry.
I actually tried breaking up with her. And then I was sobbing.
Hey, she also agreed with my baby name, so.
Everyone agrees with that baby name. Do we have a license yet to put that on Patreon?
Not yet.
Ugh. Brad. Come on.
It's not a debate anymore. A decision's been made.
It's been made?
But it's not being
We're dying
announced till
for
he's
content.
born.
What?
It's not being announced till he's born.
But did we win?
It's not being announced till he's born.
I'm gonna beat the ever-loving shit out of you. Anyways,
I gotta have some fun with this.
What are we
right?
talking about? No,
Brad-
before.
Oh, the jerseys. Anyways,
Mel tends
right.
to agree with everything I say, is what Ryan's saying.
so Mel started making her own tiers, and
Yeah, you were live messaging us when she was going about it.
and so we just started fighting, and then I stopped, and then Brad, you actually messaged me this at the exact moment I thought of it, which was, hold on, stop this. I'll wait, and we're going to record this for patrons as well. Because it's going to be a huge fight. And
We'll just have her over and we'll get Crystal in on it too, because Crystal disagrees with every hockey opinion I have.
oh, man, that's going to be great. Well,
Does Kat watch hockey?
No.
Okay, so it'll just be Crystal and Mel.
and we'll post. It's going to be it's essentially a brawl. You guys are all going to hate it. Anyways, I'm excited for you to listen to it. And we'll post an accompanying
But I
picture.
didn't do. Are we going to do that for like podcast or YouTube? Because I thought we were talking YouTube for that one.
No, we'll talk about it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. Back to the RFA class.
No.
We have sunken into the level of pure delusion with Marner. He wanted $10 million a year for 3 years.
He's gonna get over 10 unless they give
Wasn't
him a
there a
5-year
rumor
contract.
that the Islanders were preparing an offer sheet for Mitch Marner for $13
Yes,
million?
and I think the person who reported that had less followers than I do. So
Yeah, who is that?
Couldn't be me.
One day, boys, one day.
when can I petition for that blue check mark? I gotta be in the
How many times do we have to have this conversation?
I know, but
I
I'm waiting to get a different answer, Brian.
I've myself explained it 3 times.
No, I
And
know.
I recall each time.
You know what's going to happen, though? You know, between our official account, you, me, and Evan, you know who's getting the blue check mark first, right?
It's gonna be me.
Evan.
It's absolutely going to be Evan.
You know,
Yes.
the path forward is very obvious. It's the official account and then us three. Evan the other day says to me and Brad, he goes, "Oh, I can't wait to pass these guys." It's like, Evan, who do you think you're getting these followers from? Evan goes,
He's going to retweet one thing, and it's going to be a quote tweet, just him saying yes to something below it, and it's going to get like 20,000 retweets, and in a day he'll pass us.
I'm not one for pandering, but I'll pander to pass both of you and get that blue check mark.
my favorite thing was Evan going, "I jumped like 100 followers in the past 2 days." We're like, "Yeah, Evan, the draft happened."
I had like 50 notifications on Twitter. I was like, what the hell happened?
yeah. Welcome to the Winged Wheel podcast, Evan.
Yes.
Believe it or not, you're a part owner of this show. Did you know?
Yes. The other thing I found out is cottaging and golf take a lot out of your life and brain.
Yeah.
It's
be
been tough. It's been tough.
I love doing these podcasts after driving back from my hometown to here, because I just I don't even listen to music or podcasts or audiobooks anymore, because I know I just need the mental capacity to fucking talk to you guys for an hour and a half.
I just imagine Ryan on those drives is just Buddy from Full Metal Jacket, just without the gun.
Kinda, yeah. Sometimes I put System of a Down on as loud as I can make it, and I'll play the same song like 3 times in a row, and then I'll just like cool off a little
No,
bit.
what happens is, Ryan, I just assume the radio is broken in your car, and you put on Bodies by Drowning Pool, and it just freezes at that, let the bodies hit the floor, and then it's just that floor part for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
Just
kinda.
screaming.
Start like a cop's driving next to me, like, oh, jeez.
Don't want to pull that guy over.
Yeah, RFAs. That's pretty much all we have about RFAs.
Because it doesn't matter and nobody cares because they're not signing anytime soon.
It does matter, and a lot of teams care.
How many of those RFAs are Red Wings, Ryan?
Remember when we were told there'd be offer sheets?
There was one.
There was one.
I said sheets.
Yeah, you're fair.
Multiple GMs are preparing multiple offer sheets. Like, it was just Big Muscles Bergevin.
Come on, did you really? We know it's true. Lou Lamoriello paying $13 million for an RFA that he butted heads with behind the scenes when he was in Toronto. No, yeah, of course he would do that.
But Mitch Marner can't grow a beard, so that's a plus.
William Nylander looks like a PhD in like English lit. Did you guys see that picture?
Yes. So here's what I have to put out there into the world and hoping that this message reaches
Didn't
whoever...
he get roasted alive by other NHL players?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm about to add to that. So I don't know if he lives on his own, but if he doesn't live on his own, if he has a girlfriend, roommates, family...
Or boyfriend. You know,
Or a dog.
Whatever. Whoever is in his building in the morning, don't let him dress himself. You need to take control of this situation. This is getting out of hand.
I support how he dresses purely because you have that opinion. Just so you know.
I wouldn't respect you if you didn't.
Jim Benning got extended as GM of the Vancouver Canucks.
Am I the only one who's not surprised by this? He's objectively not done a good job, but here's the thing. The owners told him, go get a team that's going to compete now. So then he went and acquired a lot of pieces that are going to help the team compete now. Compete for a playoff spot, absolutely not a Stanley Cup, but he has accommodated exactly what his bosses requested he do. Why would they fire him? If you imagine Ron Hextall in there right now, he'd have tried firing the Aquilinas into the Pacific Ocean by now.
He probably could have succeeded. He's scary.
Honestly.
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is that their reasoning was sound, and it's kind of what you want to hear from an owner when they extend a GM, which is you don't want that hanging over a GM's head that they're going into a contract year. Eat your heart out, Tom Dundon, who literally let the contract expire. Did we talk about that? Waddell got an actual contract
From Carolina now after interviewing with Minnesota.
Yeah. He definitely didn't give it to him because he definitely didn't just find out that you legally have to have your GM under contract by the end of August. Definitely knew that before, for sure.
100%. And honestly, Don Waddell was actually acting as GM for, over a month without getting paid?
I think he was still getting paid.
How? He didn't have a contract.
It's probably just like a...
Under the table, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Here's a stack of cash.
Not under the table, but they probably just whatever his monthly or biweekly pay is, they probably just kept giving it to him.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah, he wouldn't work for free.
Wouldn't he, though?
No.
Oh, God, no.
No. It's not us.
I would never work for free.
You see, well, I mean, you don't work, so there's...
That you know of.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the whole point. We don't know if you actually work. You just kind of disappear for a little while.
Do I look like I'm aging?
No.
Oh, well, then not at all. That joke backfired then.
Neither of you age. It makes me really angry.
I may be outside, I look like I'm 23, but inside, I feel about 53.
Yeah, well.
I went to bed 2 hours later than when I usually do, and I felt hungover.
You went to bed at 9 p.m.?
No, that's when I usually go to bed.
It's not a joke. Well, one time we started recording...
Ryan, do you see the vein that's starting to emerge in the side of my forehead here? As he's saying this across from the dude with a 3-year-old with the energy of Sonic the Hedgehog and a pregnant wife.
That was your choice, though.
Yeah, you did that both times.
I did that willingly, but the energy outputs are vastly different here, Evan.
You want to know who she gets that from?
Crystal.
Definitely not. Yeah, okay. Crystal is the only person who enjoys sitting down and just looking at people with a stink eye more than me.
The RBF is strong in that one.
It really is.
And that wasn't the case when we met. Like, that's been acquired.
Yeah, because you suck the life out of everything and just use it for your own benefit.
That is a fact.
Yeah, but I don't do that anymore. I have now transferred it to another person to do on my behalf.
Evan and I used to actually, like, hang out and talk.
I've been tired for 8 years.
Yes. I've been tired... Well, how long have we been doing this podcast? That long.
Anyways, I woke up at 5 a.m. yesterday and went to bed at 12:30. Moving on.
Waddell's getting paid. Jim Benning got an extension. Vancouver fans, I wish you all the best. Buffalo very obviously knew that we were recording a jersey ranking episode and released their own 50th anniversary jerseys. I think they are crisp as hell.
Yeah, people were telling me they didn't like it. I was like, explain. They're like the gloves. I was like, that has nothing to do with the jersey. Those are your gloves. Those go on your hands. Your jerseys do not go in your hands.
I like white gloves.
I like white gloves with white jerseys.
Yeah,
But that's the end of that list.
They used gold, and it was phenomenal.
They're the Notre Dame jerseys with the Sabres logo.
The pattern, like in the actual Buffalo, is amazing.
Yeah, it's really...
If the Red Wings could do something like that, I would be pretty down.
It was.
Well, we
really
had that
sick.
silver accent the one time for the outdoor game.
And I actually didn't mind that jersey. It was just kind of boring, but it was actually kind of nice.
It grew on me.
Yeah.
I came to appreciate it more as time went on, and now I'm upset I don't have one. I would absolutely get an Anthony Mantha in that one, though, because...
So where's should we say where we think that Buffalo jersey ranks?
I'd put it in the good tier.
Definitely in the good tier.
I
for
would
me.
put it in the good tier. They're the Royal Blues to come the year after that. Have you seen the mock-ups for those kids?
Those were like the throwbacks, right?
Yeah, that's what they're going to switch to in a year.
Yeah, that's Buffalo needs to get rid of their current iterations and just take their jerseys. I'm going to pick a year 92 and just roll with those. Right down to the socks, uniforms, change nothing. Those were good. If you aren't a fond of those, I will happily take 99 as well.
Yeah, someone mocked up the royal blue, the gold, yellow, and white in the home away, and then the third was the red, black, and white
Yes,
Angry Goat.
please.
That was that is instantly an elite jersey set. Instantly.
Yes, that's top 10 in the league at worst.
Yeah.
At worst.
The annoying Golden Knights account tweeted, "Gold on a hockey jersey? Who could possibly have thought of that?"
Ha, got him.
And I quote tweeted it saying, "Lots of teams have done it. Difference being they didn't announce it by shoving Golden in their team name." And then Murray Pam at Pammer Hockey tweeted at me, just tweeted Golden Seals, and I went, "God damn it, I've made a fool of myself." But
That's okay.
the point still stands. Vegas, you are far from an original thought.
This should have been the Golden Nuggets. Just saying.
They should have been the Flamingo. We were robbed.
No,
of the
if they
big
had to put Golden in the name, it should have been Golden Nuggets.
Golden Nuggets, yeah, well, Golden Flamingo. I would have done Golden Flamingos over
A
Golden
pink and
Knights.
gold theme.
Oh yeah,
I'm here for it.
yeah. That's all the bachelorette parties that Mel's been planning have been pink and gold theme. She could have been the head designer for that. That's our off-season content for today. Do we want to go back to talking about Bert-Ehn-Ernie? Nope. Then let's-
We didn't. Well, we had a brief moment this year where we had a Firkin A line.
That's right. We didn't even talk about the.
Well, there's a
Bert-Ehn-Ernie.
potential that Bert-Ehn-Ernie will be on the ice at the same time.
Bertuzzi and Ernie enough is enough for it to be funny, but Bertuzzi, Christopher N, Bert-Ehn-Ernie, Bert-Ehn-Ernie.
We need just Jeff Blashill, listen to me. If you do this one thing for me, I'll forgive everything you've done over the last 5 years. Just opening night, that's your starting lineup. They don't have to play another shift together the rest of the year. But Christopher N is centering Bert-Ehn-Ernie and Tyler Bertuzzi for the season opening faceoff. It's all I ask.
And they play the Sesame Street theme song.
I will call a full moratorium on any negative comments about Jeff Blashill for a 12-month period if he does that.
And-
I will put that in writing. I will write that in blood.
And then we hire Larry Robinson as an assistant coach.
Why?
You don't know his nickname?
No.
Big Bird.
Larry Robinson? Oh.
That's his nickname.
yeah.
We can have Big Bird on the bench.
Yeah, I'm dumb. Yeah.
What other Sesame Street themes can we get going here?
Oscar the Grouch?
What
Even
Oscar Lindbergh. Get Vegas on the phone.
Why did I not remember they were just called Big Bird? That completely left me.
I don't know.
Oscar, who's Oscar the Grouch?
Oscar Lindbergh.
Sundqvist.
Oscar Sundqvist.
He
He's
might be a
actually
little bit more
usable.
expensive.
Yeah, he just signed an extension. We'll go for Lindbergh. Who else? Major Sesame Street characters. It's been a while.
Elmo?
Who's Oscar the Grouch is the one that lives in the garbage can, right?
Yeah.
Great, we got dozens of those already.
Who's the Cookie Monster?
The cookie.
Jimmy Howard? He's been having a couple cookies.
He does it every offseason, and it's always great. I'm fine.
And someone always sends me a picture like, Jimmy Howard, ? And I just say thick. That's all I say back.
Absolute unit.
Dummy thick.
Yeah.
By the way, have you guys seen Toy Story 4?
I have not.
They made Bo Peep thick, and I was like, that is a child's
jeez.
toy. I was like, you did not need to do that, Disney Pixar.
Did you see the prank the one guy played on his mom? I think it was Toy Story 3, with the scene where they're in the incinerator, and he dubbed in the end credits right there.
Shut up.
Yeah, and they let her believe that for a whole 24 hours.
Oh my god. That's hysterical. Okay, I'm going to switch this over to Patreon, where Overtime is brought to you by patrons who support the show, make us be able to do what we do. All the growth and cool things that we've done are as a direct result of their support. Their comments get read out on air, guaranteed, is our way of saying thanks. We've lost Evan. Caitlin Wood says, hey dudes, quick update on my front. I recently started a new job in the cannabis industry, no less, designing for Leafly.com. They are based in Seattle, Washington.
Hold on, stop.
Oh, hey.
How much is he paying us for this sponsor?
He's a name level sponsor.
Okay.
He can say what he wants.
I'll allow it.
Although he is still in Austin, Texas. So I guess I have a reason to root for the Kraken. Huzzah.
Yo, can you get, like... Do it. You have influence there now. Literally, just bring the weed to the owners. They'll get high. They'll think it's hilarious. It'll happen. This is on you now, dude.
And now, I don't think you need to encourage Seattleites? Satellites. Anyways.
Seattle LLs.
Enough about me. How about these Red Wings? No, seriously, how are they? Max posted an article recently about the effects of losing, but losing, and even if the kids are improving, he spoke about how it can potentially hinder long-term health. I would be so interested to hear a candid conversation between our youth and around American Thanksgiving about how Detroit is performing. I have faith in players like D-Boss to keep the kids focused, but still, it's got to be tough. I guess this is more of a comment than anything, but interested to hear your thoughts on it. Cheers, fellas.
It's like when Ryan O'Reilly said he no longer loves hockey.
Yeah.
Well, the one silver lining from last year is the Red Wings lost a lot of one-goal games. I think they had the most one-goal losses in the NHL, so they weren't getting shelled. It's not like they were walking out there and getting pasted 10-1 by Montreal every night.
We're not the Ottawa Senators.
They were in every game, so that's the silver lining there. And even Max outlined, as long as the kids are doing well, at least their confidence will stay high. Because if you're Anthony Mantha and you go out there and put up 2 goals and an apple in a 4-3 loss, are you really going to be hanging your head that night?
And
Probably
that's why
not.
you need to handpick the veterans in your locker room.
Yeah.
Because some are only there to win, and obviously the Red Wings aren't doing that, so they can potentially turn this into a bad situation. So
it's also important to have a few personalities in that room.
Yes.
So, guys who can keep that room light, because there are going to be stretches this year where
it's going to be a
get
long
dark.
season. Regardless of anything, it's going to be a long year.
Because, I've heard Mike Green's a bit of a character behind closed doors, and Bertuzzi obviously is. So it's like those are the guys the team honestly needs to lean on in the room to keep things light, because they're going to have some extended streaks of suck. So,
long story short, this year matters a lot for this topic. I don't think you need to make it out of this year with some light at the end of the tunnel. Don Mitchell says, what's up, boys? With the Ernie signing, will there be any other moves to reduce the redundancy of the bottom 6, or will we just be playing the waivers game?
depends on health after preseason.
I would say here's the likelihood of things clearing up room. 50% likelihood injuries will clear up room. 30% likelihood it'll be waivers. 20% likelihood trade. Who will be the first of our team's RFAs to be extended during the season? Bertuzzi, because I think it can be done cheap.
Yeah, probably.
Memorabilia question. If you could have a specific player jersey from any of the outdoor games, who would you have? My answer is and always will be Nicholas Lidstrom, Wrigley Field Winter Classic jersey.
Just because I already said it this episode, I'm going to go Anthony Mantha Centennial Classic.
I have no idea. I like the Stadium Series jersey, though. But I'm just trying to think of who.
Get a Hank Stadium Series jersey.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, he says one Red Wings and one other jersey. His are Mantha Centennial and a Yager Flyers jersey.
Good call.
Wait, Datsuk wasn't still on the team when we played this Stadium Series. Where is he?
Colorado, was he? I don't think so. That was 15-16?
He was
so
there
he would have been
16,
there. Yeah, he would have been there.
Oh,
I already got a note toward Datsuk, so I'm covered.
What's another good outdoor jersey?
From other teams?
Is it blasphemous to ask for a Colorado one? Thanks for the content in this godforsaken offseason. Cheers, Don. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it.
I'm going to go to the 2007 Buffalo Sabres jerseys when they just wore their old jerseys.
Yeah, I just don't want a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, but I feel like that's half of the teams, right?
Yes. Yeah, which Pittsburgh, Washington, or Chicago jersey would you like?
Yeah.
That's honestly what it kind of comes down to.
How many have the Rangers been in?
A few. They've had a couple decent ones.
Yeah, they're getting up there. It's time to cut them back.
Not any. Oh, dude. I have the answer for you.
What?
The Devils wore the red, white, and greens in an outdoor game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, give me an Adam Henrique one of those.
Wait, because he would have still have been.
Yeah, he would have still been there.
Good old
I
Windsor
want a
boy.
Brizgalov jersey.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
The one where he was on the bench with a thermos.
Rowan told me to tell you to check your Twitter DMs because you need to prep for his question. So do that now.
Way ahead of you, dude.
Okay, good. Arjun Shankar says, "Hey guys, it's been a while, but I just wanted to chip in with these two things. Bert-Ehn-Ernie is the best episode title you've ever had, and I really miss hockey." I agree wholeheartedly on both those points. I'm sure I'll have more questions once the season starts. Take care, fellas. Good to hear from you, Arjun. I was just actually thinking about you the other day because we're going to be giving away our tickets to the the home opener meetup soon. And
Tickets already purchased.
Tickets already purchased.
Giveaways happening. You must tune into every episode between now and the start of the season because you don't know when we're going to launch it. It'll be subtle.
It'll be soon because we need to give you time to prep in case you're not in Michigan.
Ryan, I'm trying to maximize listens here, dude.
Michael Barry says, with the Ernie trade, do you guys think Zadina just stays in the minors for most of the year, and how would you feel about that? I just get this feeling that Yzerman is not really interested in this year's record. This is going to take time, quote, quote, for the Wings, and might want to just focus on the youth in Grand Rapids. Okay, I think you're right in that Yzerman's not really interested in winning this year, or like fretting over that, but I think he'll recognize the importance of giving Zadina pro reps. Right? Like, Zadina's the one guy out of all of them who needs pro reps.
The one thing is, too, the argument I've been making for Zadina for the last 4 months, I've now kind of come off of, where Zadina didn't have any good playmakers to play with in Grand Rapids last year, so I think that hindered him a little bit, whereas he could go up to Detroit, and even though it's a tougher league, playing with, forget Larkin, even a Nielsen or a Filppula would be better for him. And then I remembered that if he goes to Grand Rapids, his centerman is probably going to be Joe Valeno. So I'm a little more open to him going to Grand Rapids, but I still think it should be Detroit.
If it's half and half, I'm fine with that. But I think half, it needs to be a threshold in or around there. Joseph Delia says, "Hey boys, I don't have much this week. What was more heartbreaking, Game 7 Chicago 2013 or Game 7 Tampa 2015? Oh, Chicago by a landslide.
Yeah, because
That was actually a team that might have competed. There was no chance in hell Detroit was going to make it through in 2015.
Yeah, and that was the second round against Chicago. And who was
They won the cup that year.
They won the cup, yeah.
And
yeah.
they beat Arizona in the conference
I want to
finals.
say it was LA.
Oh, one of the two, yeah.
Either way, I remember Detroit had a winning record against LA that year. Whoever it was, I remember I'm like, damn it, we had their number that year.
Yeah. That was the last year where I had any real hope of like residual success from the team that was petering off. Garrett TV says, "Hockey Amigos, do you think there's any actual chance Svechnikov plays an impactful or even marginally impactful role for the Red Wings? Like, not this year, but ever."
Oh, yeah.
I just don't see it. He's aging. Injuries have hindered his progress, and we don't have the space, and he honestly hasn't showed that much when he's played. I'm just afraid he's becoming all hype and not sure why so many fans are choosing the blind faith upside of him just being a staple in the lineup someday. Feels a lot like the conversation that has already taken place over the years around Sarri-Järvi, albeit at a closer to the NHL level. That is lots of talk about what he could be until we realize that it's just too late and probably isn't actually going to happen. Anyways, please discuss. Also, holy shit, I'm pumped about that Oktoberfest brews and Oktoberfest brews are starting to be released. My favorite time of the beer year. Cheers and let's go Red Wings.
I was told Svechnikov was supposed to fight Ovechkin, so he better.
Okay, look, I think he makes a great point here. I think a lot of the fan base is getting way ahead of themselves because the actual evidence that we've seen on the ice from Svechnikov has not been substantial. And it's not entirely his fault. He's played 20 NHL games.
So here's where I'm at. He had a really good rookie season in Grand Rapids. Really good. That's where the hype's coming from. It wasn't just that he had a good career in juniors. It's that his first year in Grand Rapids, his production was very similar to what Zadina just did this year. Different players, different ages. I understand that, but still, it's worth noting. He had a down sophomore year, which, whatever, that happens to a lot of players. And then he blew out his knee. There's the problem is, I'm not going to say yes or no on Svechnikov one way. He had such a major injury. We don't know. If his knee comes back perfectly healed and he doesn't have any long-term effects from it, yeah, I think he'll still be an impactful third-line winger, maybe second-line winger. I'm not saying this guy's going to go out and put 60, 70 points up in the league, but 40 to 50 on the regular, very possible. And that's fantastic from a depth winger because is Adam Erne going to hit those numbers? Hell no. So if we can have a Svechnikov who's a big body like Ernie to get in there with some actual skill, because Adam Ernie's 20-year-old season or 19-year-old season, whatever, his last year in the queue was similar to Svechnikov's draft year in the queue. So if we're excited that Adam Erne might have an uptick, Svechnikov's a couple steps above him.
So that's the other side of it, which I also see a lot of validity in. The beauty is this is such a gray area because we just don't know yet.
Yeah. That knee could be ruined and he can't even skate. We don't know.
So the answer, Garrett, is you might very well be right, but the fact of the matter is the Red Wings still have not had a good look at a first-round pick that is due for it. So you just kind of have to force it to see what you have. Sean Levine, very important question here. If you were in the ocean and a hammerhead shark was swimming straight towards you, do you think it's possible to grab it by the hammer part to prevent it from eating you? It's obviously stronger than you, but the mouth is below it, so how would it get to you? Hashtag off.
Go for the eyes and the nose.
Yeah, but then you have to reach for one side, and then you lose the grip, and it can just turn on you.
I'm just thinking, if I grab that hammer, my legs are naturally going to swing under the shark as I pull on the hammer.
Yeah, so you kind of like
You have to get
cup
above it.
No, you kind of cup it. Are you saying ride it like a dolphin?
Yeah, that might be what you have to do.
That's definitely what you'd have to do. It wouldn't last long because that shark is way stronger, way more powerful than you.
Well, you flip it upside down.
It's going to buck you in a second.
Well, you put your thumb in each eyeball. Right?
That's your only hope.
You could do that.
Quickly enough before that, 3,000-pound behemoth just tosses you in the air like a seal.
Look, here's the thing. I've heard too many stories of people successfully punching a shark in the face. And you guys know me. I'm very morbid. So if a shark's coming at me, I'm going to have two thoughts. One, probably going to die. Made it farther than I thought. And this is a really cool way to go. Two, I have an opportunity to survive this by punching a shark in the face.
Sharks are ambush predators, so you probably wouldn't even know it's coming to.
Why do you know this?
I know things.
What?
You didn't know sharks were ambush predators?
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it probably this would need to be more of a reactionary thing from you.
Yeah, maybe like every time in the water I flip.
You got to get that swinging back fist just nailed.
Yes.
You need to go to way more metal shows.
I do flail in the water, but that's because I'm a poor swimmer. Evan Beckner says, "Sup guys? So is Laine like bad now? Hockey media makes it sound like he's barely a fourth liner. What is he really worth?"
He scored 30 goals on a down year. Why do people think he sucks?
Yeah. Also, Fortnite's ruined now because of the mech, and so he'll have a lot more time this year. No. He's a very atypical player, and this is actually a very interesting case study in how you give contracts to like players who are elite in one way and average to below average in other ways. Also, keep in mind that he's still very young, and those average to below average aspects to his game could very easily round out.
It's absurd how he can basically become a ghost and then all of a sudden have 30 goals in a month.
He's, 21? And he's huge?
Yeah.
And he's got maybe the best release in the entire NHL?
Yeah, he's not a bad player. He's a fantastic player. He can be a superstar, and I would not be surprised if it happens. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. Any team would be happy to have him. And you know what? I think Winnipeg's going to sign him for a great value because right now the things that he's not so great at are being a little bit over magnified. Joseph Fournier says, "Thrilled with the Ernie trade. A fourth is very little give up. This is the kind of trade we've been waiting for. Yzerman taking advantage of Tampa's cap crunch and buying low on a potential higher value sleeper. But after this move in free agency, this means some players that many people thought would automatically be on the team next year will probably be starting in Grand Rapids. Food for thought. If you haven't already talked about this, can you discuss the significant reclassifications of some of the organization figures, like Yuri Fisher having assistant added to a job title he already had? Stay fresh." We can talk about all that. The reality is it'd be conjecture at best. We don't really know what's happening in the background. And a lot of this might just be administrative stuff related to pay. A lot of it might just be the way that Yzerman likes an org chart to look. A lot of it might be modernization or standardization for stuff across the league. What you have to look for is the big stuff. Who's coming in, who's coming out, who's taking the lead on stuff. Draper coming in, these new guys coming in as chief scouts, whoever's leaving. That's the most of it. I wouldn't get too hung up on assistant and director and all that. Marissa, what did you just start? She has questions. First is build a perfect burger. That one's fine.
Okay.
I'm pretty easy. I like a lot of different things on burgers.
Okay, first of all, a burger, medium. It's not steak. I don't go medium rare. Medium burger.
Mediums, yeah. Burger's medium.
Okay. Now, I'm a huge fan of any, I'm just going to air quotations, breakfast theme burger. So fry an egg, throw it on there, give me some back bacon on there. Give me just a good, nice barbecue sauce on there.
Nope.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Wrong 100%.
You don't like breakfast
you're
burgers.
wrong. No, I don't
You
like
live near Johnny Frisco's. You never had the Sam I Am burger?
I
It's
don't.
so good.
I don't like egg on
No
sandwich.
free
I don't like
ad
egg.
reads, Brad.
I don't like egg on sandwiches. I don't like egg on things that aren't like. If I'm not eating eggs, I don't want egg on my thing.
This is the one time I actually think your take's hotter than mine.
Really? Is it, I do? It's so popular, right? Like, why do people love egg outside of the realm of where egg should live?
It's delicious. Beef with egg and then more beef. Oh, it's heaven.
It's called being progressive, Ryan.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I also really hot take, and I'm gonna catch a lot of heat for this. No pun intended. I don't love barbecue sauce. I think there's so many better sauces.
Evan.
The artificial smoke
His
doesn't do it for
opinion
me.
doesn't matter
It just
anymore.
doesn't do it for me.
I'm not a barbecue sauce guy on my burger. I am a barbecue sauce guy. But if I was building my burger, it's I like pork. I like doing like ground like a ground short rib maybe. I like to mix my meats. And then medium and then just some nice old cheddar and some bacon. That's it. And then some lettuce, onion, and I'm a ketchup guy, but in that case, I could do some spicy.
Those
mayo.
crispy onion straws, I hate onions,
Yeah,
but you can
yeah,
throw those on any burger I eat,
Caramelized
and I'm happy.
onions too.
Yes.
Big fan.
Okay, so there's a place in Ontario, the Works, is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
worst
Yeah.
burgers.
I like the combos that they have. Like,
Their breakfast burger is fantastic, and it's called the breakfast burger, Ryan.
okay,
I had to call them and complain once because they messed up my burger. God, I'm not allowed to swear on these episodes anymore.
so they have a lot of different, like, they have like jerk burgers, and like they do.
You're a jerk burger.
Yeah. I'm pretty easy on burgers. I'll take a lot of different things, but you want to know, this is my hot take, and I know this isn't gonna be popular. Buffalo chicken burger, goat cheese.
I like a buffalo
That's not
chicken.
that hot.
But okay, buffalo chicken isn't a burger. That's a sandwich.
Does that qualify?
That absolutely does not qualify.
I'm gonna shove that through as my answer because there's gonna be a fight this next question. Marissa, why did you do this to us? All right, guys, build your perfect pizza.
Oh, God.
We've done this already. The argument has been going on for 3 years. Ryan just likes a pepperoni pizza. Nobody takes his answer seriously. I like grilled chicken on mine. Ryan thinks that's the worst take in the world. Evan, I don't even remember because it doesn't matter.
I just like putting.
Why
it in
don't
my
you
mouth.
just have eggs for breakfast? Why don't you just have chicken breast instead of the pizza?
Have you ever had a breakfast pizza? They're really good.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
Evan.
kill me.
Yes, Evan.
Oh man,
Yeah, buddy.
breakfast. I actually went to a fine dining restaurant for brunch, and they had breakfast pizza on their menu. So that's how I know it was legitimate.
Ron Swanson was on to something. Breakfast food can be eaten anytime, anywhere.
You guys want to know something?
Listen to me. You can do listen, scrambled egg, bacon,
Oh god.
and like a hot honey.
Oh,
it.
yes.
It is
Hot honey,
so good.
Put that, like, inject it right into my veins.
I had a pizza with lemon ricotta and hot honey on it, and some kind of like
That sounds really good.
some kind of Italian salami.
Sopressata.
Yeah, and it was, oh god, it was amazing. Anyways, fun story for you guys. You'll enjoy this. I picked up a piece of pizza at my friend's birthday party, and it was like a pineapple and like pepperoni or something. And I took a bite of it, and it was not pineapple and pepperoni or something. It was cheese, grilled chicken, and barbecue sauce.
Hell yeah.
No, and
This friend's party, it was Brad's.
and I refused to waste food, so I ate the whole damn slice. I was very mad.
Grilled chicken, peppers, mushrooms. Perfect. Simple.
Describe your ideal vacation.
Anywhere that I can just not do anything.
Yeah, I want to be able to turn my brain off. So it
Are you
sounds.
guys a hot or a cold people?
I'm a hot if I'm going on vacation.
Okay.
Warm, but
No, that wasn't your options.
I'm hot, I guess, if I have to pick one.
Okay.
I do want to go to Alaska.
There's a whole lot of places I want to visit. Like I want to do the Europe thing. I want to do the Alaska thing. I want to do the weird things. But like if I'm just going for my perfect vacation, I'm finding some tropical island where people bring me my drinks and I don't have to do anything. And there's enough, like, if I can do cave diving, if I can do cliff jumping, if I can do that for when I have a little bit of energy for the 3 hours that I do.
Take me to the Bahamas, and that's all I want. And they have a little island off of the Bahamas that has pigs that live on it.
Like,
and you can go pet the pigs. That's all I want to do.
I love that. That's my perfect
Like,
vacation.
honestly, my perfect vacation spot based on everything I want, like from the cool factor and the relaxation factor, is Hawaii. Can't afford
Hawaii's
it.
sweet.
I want to do like because you can do the luau, the chill on the beach, the whole thing, but I also want to climb volcanoes, so it's got everything I want.
Hawaii is sweet. I've been twice. It's great.
Favorite childhood memory?
Not growing up.
Playing hockey. Oh man, you know what? Going on road trips and having my Game Boy and just,
Like, do we have to pick a specific memory, or like it
I
can
just
be
went broad.
recurring?
yeah.
Summers when you were a kid and it felt like they lasted
Oh
forever.
god, yeah.
I don't know, just all my hockey road trips, because just me and my dad, and we'd be driving all over Ontario, and I got to play hockey at the end of it. It was great.
Kwaz says, how's life, guys? I have a feeling that Yzerman has no feeling of obligation to the current players on the roster. With that, I think we're going to see some guys get moved around at some point. Any of you have inklings like that? Yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment, and that's something that makes me very happy. I think there's a possibility that he has something in the works, but I think the realistic take on this is that if and when an opportunity does come up, he's not going to not do it because, oh, well, he's done a lot of good work for us, and the fans love him because he's from Michigan, and
His name's Justin Hadley.
there's going to be none of that, which is a great
I can't
change of
imagine
pace.
there'll be anything super radical unless there's something that he can't say no to.
You know what? These questions are all food related.
It's gonna be Jacob Delarose. That's gonna be
Yeah.
the trick.
Food related. What is your favorite way of having eggs in your favorite toast?
In my mouth as fast as possible.
Gordon Ramsay's scrambled eggs.
100%.
Wrong, poached. I love
You need to do
poached
Gordon.
eggs.
Have you had Gordon Ramsay's style of scrambled eggs?
Yes, because they're the French style, I believe.
Yeah, and it's perfect.
They're perfect. A good eggs Benny is hard to beat, but well scrambled is great too. I like a rye toast. If you're actually having eggs for breakfast, I don't like. I used to eat them sunny side up and dipping pita bread into them growing up, and I love that.
Pita
too.
bread.
Yeah.
I would dip toast.
I was Middle Eastern, so that's what we
That
used.
is toast.
Did you your eggs and just slathered it in hummus and then pita bread?
Why would you put
That actually sounds amazing.
eggs
Is that
and
not-
hummus?
is that
No.
not good?
No. Why would you do that? What's
know.
wrong with you guys? You know what? I brought my mom sent some dill pickle and roasted red pepper hummus, and I was gonna bring some for you guys, but now no longer.
Well, I'm gonna have eggs tomorrow, so please. I've never done that, and I don't think I would. But
Jethro E says, so here in the States, CBS and Viacom are merging together again after having divorced each other in the mid-2000s, kind of like two punch-drunk lovers who couldn't make it work out of college. Divorce, never remarry, meet up again at their 10-year college reunion and decide, screw it, let's try this again. This is already my favorite comment.
so this is the Detroit Red Wings and Valtteri Filppula.
The Big Lead had an extremely interesting article about what this merger could do for the sports landscape, and it touched on the idea of the NHL getting onto CBS Viacom after the current rights deal is up. Also made mention of Fox and ESPN making a run for the rights deal. Oh, I should read that article. He links to it. So patrons, go take a look at that. So this is all very interesting to me because I'm a massive nerd, but NBC has been a pretty good steward of the sport during their tenure as the exclusive U.S. broadcaster of the NHL, so I don't know that I want to see them completely dropped out of the next rights deal. Would you guys think the NHL would follow the same tact of the NBA, NFL, and MLB by having multiple national broadcasters for the NHL throughout each week of the season in the playoffs? I don't know I want ESPN getting a hold of hockey rights again. The NHL would be the redheaded runt stepchild of their rights deals. I honestly would love to see NBC and Fox get dual rights to the NHL starting in the next deal. I think Fox going all in on sports could provide an opportunity for Friday night hockey, which I always thought would be a great complement to Sunday hockey on NBC. Then the rights for the conference finals should also be split a la NBA, where one conference is shown on one network and the other conference is shown on the other. Also, the other rounds of the playoffs could be split between NBC and Fox, which would help avoid having to see games on non-sports channels like CNBC and USA. What do you Ontario Buttes think? Would love to hear your thoughts. Even Evan's thoughts.
I have no idea. I have the internet. It allows me to watch things not on a TV.
I don't want ESPN in there because I don't want to hear people talking about how does LeBron James on the Lakers affect the Kings.
The week in hockey, but with emojis.
So Jethro, for anyone who doesn't have good insight into this, I actually recommend you go and actually read the article that Jethro linked as well as Jethro's comments. This is a really good analysis, and I think you're right on the money in that splitting it up is pretty advantageous considering, yes, I do think, all criticism aside, NBC has been a good steward for the sport, especially its growth over the past however many years. But there's just too much value to be had in splitting it across networks. And I think the NHL might not be quite there, but they will be there in terms of popularity of the sport. So you might as well get on that train now. I agree with Brad. I don't love ESPN's coverage. But if that's just the reality of it, then that's fine.
NBC.
I want more than just arbitrary Wednesdays and Sundays on NBC.
When I was in America, I think I've told this story before, and I was watching the morning highlights. I think in a full hour, 55 minutes of it was football. It was the off season. There was no football going on.
Could Johnny Manziel play goalie
Could
for the Minnesota Wild?
Yes, basically was what they were talking about.
Alex Zuko says, greeting dub dudes. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Let's assume the Red Wings have another good for the rebuild year and again end up with a top 5 pick. Shed those long-term contracts among the defensive core and re-sign all the young RFA forwards to nice 4-year plus contracts. With all the cap space plus a good young, though maybe not elite forward core, plus the likely permanent arrivals of Zadina, Rasmussen, and Veleno, plus a nearly clean slate on defense and in goal, do you, if you are Stevie Y, start to aggressively add pieces, or do you muddle through one more year so that you can shed Helms, Glendennings, Applicators, and hell, maybe even Nielsen, so that you can be even more bold and aggressive at that point? Thanks as always.
It depends on this season. If that Mantha Larkin Bertuzzi line continues to dominate, Athanasiou, Zadina show some nice progress, Cholowski, Hronek show some nice progress, yeah, I think you could start dabbling there, because you're not going to be signing any good free agent for 1 year. So if there's a guy out there you want, like a Torrey Krug, grab him, because he'll be there for many years for when you expect to be good. But if the Red Wings don't progress, the young players on the Red Wings, I should say, don't progress like we hope they will this year, then you absolutely don't, because you need as many high draft picks as you can.
We're only allowed to draft at 6, though. We're not allowed to draft any higher than
I was going to say the draft lottery could help us, because if we land Alexi Lafreniere or Lucas Raymond in the next draft, then yeah, we can start turning this thing around a little quicker.
I'm not sure they'll be there at 6.
You never know. I didn't think Moritz Seider would be at 6, but here we are.
True.
It's just going to depend on opportunity, right? Like, these things aren't mutually exclusive. Like, for example, Eisman said this rebuild is going to take time and we need to focus on like configuring the team.
But he didn't say how much time.
He also saw the opportunity in acquiring a guy that he liked in Adam-Erne, so it's just kind of going to depend on circumstance, as well as what these guys mentioned. Rowan says, good day, duds. As always, my comment is proudly sponsored by Stay Fresh Cheese Bags. When it's the hockey off season and you're headed to the cottages for the weekend, keep your picnic items fresh and safe from bear attacks with Stay Fresh Cheese Bags. Guaranteed to keep you safe from bears. Only safe from bears in Australia. Terms and conditions apply. Well, we came crashing back down to earth on Saturday night as the Wallabies got well and truly hecked by the All Blacks. What a drubbing. On a positive note, my rugby club has 2 grades into the grand final, despite one of them being coached by a total idiot / internet menace. Do you guys know anything about rugby? Have any of you looked it up?
One of my coworkers plays for the University of Waterloo team, so I've learned a bit.
Sorry, I lost it there. Oh yeah, this is like a hockey talkie show. So how about that Nylander photo? That's all I got. Jersey time. Ryan, you need to hand this over to the least popular trivia pod. Okay, this is you now?
I have it, yep.
Okay.
You're being put on the spot.
I am, or both of us?
You. Just you.
Damn it, Rowan.
Trivia. 3 questions to glory. What season did the Red Wings wear their barber pole jersey?
Like the original barber pole.
Not like when they brought it back.
Oh, frick, I know the original. The original was like 28, 29. 27, 28 was the original.
Okay, yeah, that's not the one. When did they bring it back? What year?
97?
Okay, question 2.
Did I get it right?
I'm not telling you till the end. What seasons did the Red Wings wear Nike jerseys?
What? I don't.
There's a Fedorov one, I think.
CCM was. I want to say Nike was early 90s.
Yeah, Nike was hot then.
Yeah. Let's go 89 to 95.
No. Okay, keep going.
Okay, and final question. What season did the Red Wings wear the locomotive patch? In commemoration of Yaroslava Locomotive.
That would have been the 2011-2012 season.
Okay. So, on question 1.
Shit.
You said 1997. You were hilariously wrong. It was 91-92.
Was it that early?
That's not that hilarious.
It was Nick Lidstrom's rookie year, dude.
you can understand why I didn't know the exact season.
Yes, because you weren't born till like 2005.
Okay, but hold on. Did I get this right as to when they were originally out? Because that will give me some redemption.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to figure this out before I realize how I'm wrong in the next question. I did 27, 28. Oh, then also 29, 30, and also 19, 30, 32. Anyways, keep going.
Okay. And then for the seasons that the Red Wings wore the Nike jerseys, you said 89 to 94?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 96 to 99.
Yeah. I wanted to say something.
We won cups in them, Ryan.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I
We
thought it
won
was
cups in
CCM.
those jerseys.
I thought it was CC. I don't know.
Fedorov's white skates, buddy. Come on. And then question
Piss
3.
off, all of you.
Okay. The question 3, the locomotive patch, you said 11-12. The correct answer is 11-12. Congratulations. You got one.
That was that long ago? Holy crap.
It was that long ago. So, since Rowan knew you were going to fail,
Yeah.
he actually sent me a consolation prize to console you. So I'm going to grab that. Not that you deserve it, but he sent you one.
He's going near the diapers.
Did he?
Literally, I'm going into the child's toys.
Oh.
He didn't. Are
What is
you
that?
kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me, Rowan?
Our crazy mate from Down Under.
I love him so much.
Do you love him because of the jersey or because of the shit he puts me through?
Okay. I seriously love him for this jersey, but the shit he puts you through is even better. He got me a Red Wings Wrigley Winter Classic jersey for me to customize.
Right, with the Wrigley Field patch and everything.
Oh, I'm so excited. For YouTube.
Thank God we're on YouTube now.
I'm so damn excited. Rowan, I love... Oh, this is the best test I've ever failed. Before, all it did was give me a lot of anxiety about my career. Now I have a jersey out of this.
This is the best this is the best negative test he's had since his last STD check.
You know, we need a mega sponsor, like a mega title sponsor, so we can bring that guy over from Australia.
Yeah.
That will be our first act of benevolence, is building a land bridge from here to Australia. Boy, we have time for some...
He can probably just ride some sharks and
Yeah.
other things over. Like, would it be cheaper to build a bridge or train some sea life?
I'll get back to you on that. We have time for some Reddit questions. This one's from Holy Moly, What a Goalie. It says, so I listened to one of your early podcasts while at the dentist.
Why?
Sorry for making that more painful. In it, you reference Willette and Marchenko as bona fide top 4 defensemen. You're very high on the team trying to sign Louis Eriksson, and then couple that with the recent signing of Brad Richards. We would suddenly be a legitimate Cup favorite. Can you please talk about these sound bites that I collected from half of an episode and discuss what opinions do you have now that will most likely seem ridiculous in a few years? All right, so I'm going to give you a big chunk of an answer here.
What's happening?
Yeah, well, I'm not reading that question out again. He
damn
listened to an early episode
'Kay.
and pulled out some atrocious takes that we had.
Oh, yeah, we had to... we defended the Kaiser contract once upon a time.
So there's a few things to consider there. One, the early days of this, so that would have been like the very inception of this podcast was 2015, early 2015. And
Was it that long ago?
the Red Wings fandom at that time was at a weird spot where, you know, with a little bit of outlook, you can see that this was going to be a bad direction the team was going in. But there was no tolerance for that kind of conversation because the Red Wings were still making the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, it's weird to think we've had 2 playoff rounds in the history of this podcast.
So between ourselves not wanting to accept it and the fact that we didn't have the support or listenership that we do now.
I don't think we didn't accept it. I think we knew the trajectory. We were just hoping that it would be better and longer than we thought.
Right. And the fact that we were getting blasted anytime we said
Are we
something.
going to hear these takes or what? I don't give a shit.
I read them out already. Can you guys listen while I read?
Oh, those are all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, those aren't that bad.
I'm answering the question. He says, why did you explain the takes?
Oh, I thought they would. I thought
You were going to give us specific takes.
No, explanations as to why, context for the show.
I got a simpler one. We're dumb. Nobody should listen to us.
There was no appetite to hear anything negative. We actually regularly got blasted anytime we did.
We actually had a lot of hate online for how critical we were.
Yeah.
That was our most common complaint.
Yes.
From listener feedback.
So-
Everyone told us to stop shitting on Justin Advocator.
Yeah, that actually got people you need to cool it. That was once a criticism we have. Like, we get it, Advocator sucks, knock it off. And we're like, what?
So there was a point early on when we were trying to figure out who we were as a podcast where we're like, well, we can't alienate the only listeners we have. So we kind
All
of
6 of them.
we backpedaled a little bit. And also the reality is we weren't as good back then.
Yeah, and now we don't care about what you guys say. Honestly, we can lose a few of you and still be doing all right, but not too many. Don't take that literally, you guys.
We've gotten a lot better. The fact that we've made this kind of like part-time jobs for ourselves, like analysis, predictions, even just podcasting in general, we've gotten better. We've gone from like, you know, hardcore fans to like making this something that we do for work. So this is
like we're entertaining the idea of like a half a decade from now, this might be our full-time job.
so yeah, like we weren't as good back then. Takes that could be bad. Cholosky could end up being terrible. Hronek could end up being like a fourth best
Takes
defenseman.
that could be bad? What?
Like, yeah, like what opinions do we have that could seem ridiculous in a few years?
That we currently hold that you could see absolutely blowing up on us?
Eisenman could be an absolute travesty as a GM.
Yeah, but those are like long shots. I mean, I've gone on record as saying I think Philip Hronek could be a top 2 defenseman after playing half a season in the NHL, so
Yeah.
that could absolutely blow up in my face.
I'm not as high on that, and I'm a little bit, but that's definitely one. Like, we're all very high on Hronek. Cholosky could go away of Marchenko.
Applicator's going to come back and score 30 goals.
I refuse to accept
in 1
it
year.
now.
I've been like trumpeting that I think people are selling Veleno short, and I think he's a good two-way second line center with offensive upside. He might be no better than a fourth line center. Any opinion can blow up at any point. Actually, the one that I've been trumpeting for what I feel is like a year and a half to 2 years from now that hasn't come to fruition yet and may never is I still think that production-wise, Anthony Mantha will not pass Dylan Larkin, but catch up. Anthony Mantha should be a 60, 70-point guy, a 30, 35 goal scorer year in, year out. And that might look horrendous based on his last 2 seasons. So who knows? Because I still think Anthony Mantha to Dylan Larkin offensive production is not a big gap.
Yeah, we have more of a license at this point to kind of say and do what we want and be a little bit more critical when it warrants. But also the reality is we just weren't as good back then. And we're going to continue to make mistakes. And, you know, if we were perfect, we'd be hired in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that you had to listen to that at the dentist. That's a really terrible time to listen to an early episode. Red Wings AK74 says...
No, he did it. It was good. So that something seemed worse than the dentist.
Smart, yeah. But thank you for that question. It was actually really thoughtful one. Red Wings AK74 says, let's say we have a nosedive in the first half of the season. Do you think Blashill will be Do you think Blashill will be the coach by the end? Especially, do you guys think that the coaching staff has to show significant improvement this year to remain in the Yzer plan? Much love and keep up the good work.
It's not in the how many, it's just the how.
Yes.
Are Larkin, Mantha, Bertuzzi, Athanasiou, Zadina lighting the world on fire? Nobody's going to be upset as a Red Wings fan. Yeah, losing will suck, but if it's Darren Helm and Franz Nielsen and Abdelkader and Jimmy Howard and Jonathan Ericsson blowing every game for you, nobody's going to be that down on the Red Wings relative to last season. But if the guys that we need to see either progress or continue a high level of production start regressing, yeah, Blashill's gone.
This is a question I'm really happy I got. It's from the Magic Man 1343. He says, this is for Ryan. I remember hearing one podcast that your family is from Iraq. And I was wondering if you're Chaldean. I'm Chaldean myself, and Chaldean hockey fans are few and far between. Yes, I am Chaldean. My family came over from Baghdad 29 years ago, 29 years ago. Yeah, there's not a lot of us, and people don't even know what Chaldeans are. If I ask either of these two meatheads, they wouldn't be able to tell you without being mildly offensive. So yeah, really cool. If you come to the meetup, I would love to meet you, man. It's awesome to see other Chaldean or even Middle Eastern hockey fans up there. I mean, I was born in Windsor, so I don't know how Chaldean I can call myself, but yeah. Coltron57 says, I swear I think of the decent questions during the week and always forget them before these threads. Anyways, how many Reese's do you think you can eat in one sitting?
Like peanut butter cups?
Yeah.
How many could you fit in a truck? Because that is, like, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups might be my single favorite food on the face of this earth.
I don't love chocolate, and I don't really have a tolerance for rich foods, and I could eat 1,000 of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bell's Beer Best Beer says, yo, thanks for the shout out last week, dudes. Either or, sleeping with socks on or off?
Off.
Off.
What kind of monster sleeps with their socks on, immediately looks at Evan?
There is a time and the place, but it's very few and far between.
Okay, that's an acceptable answer. When I get really sick, I like wear a parka to bed.
Fun fact, if someone sleeps with their socks on regularly, they murder people for sport. With that, we're going to wrap up this week's episode. I need to go start running to Australia so I can hug Rowan. We'd like to thank all of our listeners, all of our supporters, main-level sponsors, Sky Carcass, Luke Johnson, Arjun Shanker, Don Mitchell, Clayton Van Dyken, Mike Reed, Langabeer, Matthew M. Rice, Sean Levine, Kaylin Wood, Charlie Elkins, John Evans, Rob Thiel, Stan Olson, Ryan Lewis, and Hannah Lee. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go get this jersey customized.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to check out wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find links to other ways to support the show, such as Patreon, official podcast apparel, and more. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at Winged Wheel Pod. And of course, the hosts at Brad Crisco, at Ryan Hanna WWP, and at Hockey Town Evan.